Stephen King came up recently because the school where Carrie was filmed burned down in California over the past few days, which seems like some weird life imitating art situation, like it's some bizarre thing. And it reminded me of how I felt every day for like 7 or 8 years. I'm so not kidding with how bad this was. 2011, I kept thinking, is it going to be over soon? Like, it's hard to explain everything that goes on, but I was made to believe I'd be murdered the 4th Monday of January 2011. If that weren't enough, my mom and aunt's phone lines all the way down in Jacksonville, Florida were severed, so that when I called from my apartment up here in Philadelphia, I heard, doo-doo-doo, we're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. And when something bad happens, often you call your closest family member. Usually it's a parent or similar. So anyway, and if that weren't enough, on top of that, the games commenced, and it was like a cat and mouse game. I was running around like a chicken with her head cut off. We are talking, if people are able to send messages invisibly, if you will, in such a way where it's like you can't prove it. All that was going on. I was made to believe all kinds of crazy things. I thought my garbage disposal was going to blow up while my mom was there. I thought that, hi. I thought that there was a sniper in the 3rd story window across the street from the apartment I was in. I was in a 1st floor apartment at 66 South 19th Street, and she thought she was supposed to do that. So there are people walking around who are told what to do, and they're out here for a show. So we'll just leave it at that. Someone had to come in to tell me, okay, this is how we're gonna survive this thing until it's done, until we skedaddle on out and everybody else can put up with themselves, you know, for the rest of their lives. But anyway, there is a network of people who orchestrate, they create skits, scenarios. They can play out a whole theme on the streets, and it could even be like a week long. It could be about a crush you had, you know, last week, and they would play out a whole thing, and then it would end badly, like, well, you lost your love because you didn't do A, B, or C. And the whole thing is all about making you feel a lot of pain. I didn't know people could do this. I was wondering how it was done. I'm like, does the Illuminati exist? And I don't really think the Illuminati exists. I do know there are people who think they're extra important and they think they're part of the Illuminati, but they're actually just puppets. So that's the funniest part. They're made to feel super important, to play a certain role in various communities. That's a fact. You see your favorite icons all over the place. They are puppeted out the ASS. Never marry a man who loves shoes. That's from the Saturday Night Live skit, and I love saying it. It's Housewives of Disney. Do you want to be a housewife of Disney, people? You'll find that not many people do, because often these icons are single. So anyway, point being, whatever it is, these people can put through everything negative you ever thought of. You will think that you're going to be killed off. You will think that you will be made to look like someone who killed someone, like a girl who was set on fire in her basement 2 blocks away. This happened back in like 2012 or 13. Some woman on Naldane Street who was an AIDS researcher was strapped up to a pole and burned to death by the exterminator. So anyway, I think it's a true news story. You know, everybody else was flipping out. They had to find a place to put her dogs and everything. So anyway, I happened to have a whole bunch of holes in my coat at the time because I was walking a puppy who kept nipping at my coat, and I was like, could they actually, you know, like, would the dark side of the shadow government or the Illuminati, would they try to make an innocent person look guilty of something? And I was like, you kind of have to know that can't happen, but then you're like, well, I don't know, they're capable of all this crazy stuff. They can make someone look like a schizophrenic. You could get messages through radio, TV. It's like the movie The Game with Sean Penn and Michael Douglas. That's actually very close to things that people can do. And you rarely would see it, but people can communicate through anything on the airwaves. You just have to be high up enough, or some think it has to do with people who have maintained very high level DNA. They have never strayed from their people. And it sounds, you know, it's like, oh, that's but that's what some people think. People have kept their family DNA intact and they will never stray. They will always marry within. And they might have telekinesis or similar. So, or they're able to communicate through even radio. So you're like listening to an NPR special. I don't even listen any longer. I can do YouTube, like ASMR videos and stuff. But
see you next time.
Anyway, they can send messages through there, and it could freak people out. If you're lucky enough, you have a brain that can critically think and try to figure out, like, okay, what am I supposed to do, and how would I describe this to someone if I wanted someone to like help me get out of whatever it is, some sort of weird Masonic matrix, you know? That's what it's like, a good way to describe it. So you know, for all I know, a whole bunch of Masons were orchestrated all the way down the street to come out of their doors, to come out of Sherwin-Williams, to walk by Symphony House, to go in and back out of Symphony House. You know, how do you know if people are orchestrated or if they're naturally out here, or at least if they think they're naturally out here? Like, I felt like going running tonight. A lot of people are running, by the way. I don't know if they're prepping already for a Broad Street run or if there's another run coming up that they're prepping for, but I've seen so many runners lately that something's going on with running. But anyway, that's that. But the movie Carrie, I pretty much felt like Carrie. In the movie, they set her up to be homecoming queen, and she felt like she was loved. Like, she's like, oh, am I accepted by everyone all of a sudden? Yeah, if it's all of a sudden, then something's wrong. They set her up so that when she, you know, would be up there to accept the crown with the homecoming king, they would dump a bucket of like pig's blood or similar on her, so that she'd be humiliated in front of a whole gym full of idiots, basically, who set her up. And she's like totally having a breakdown. The thing is, she has telekinesis, so her telekinesis, at least in the movie, causes all kinds of crazy stuff to go on in the gym. She escapes and everybody else is locked in the gym, doused with gasoline instead of fire. I guess you should never mess with good people, you know what I mean? So, and that happened by accident. It was totally an accident. So, and she's like, you know, she has no idea how it happened. She's just like, I don't know, I just got out of there. But really, she was really upset and scared and humiliated. Can you imagine being humiliated in front of a bunch of morons who should wind up in a gym with the rest of the morons from the Carrie movie? Can you imagine being anally raped in front of people who have the capability to see? It's almost like teleportation, but say they can see into your apartment or the home of the person